any second. There we are. Dude, we're live. Are you ready for this?
Whoa, we're live. I'm ready. Hey.
Yes. Dude, it's great to see you again. You and I have messaged quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's awesome to get, I'll say, tidbits of Danny as we go through. And what's crazy is the amount of motivation you provide to me just as a person in the world. Like, we met on Race Week, and I mean, it's so cool. I can't wait for everybody to get into this story and just, obviously learn and be motivated by you, hopefully like I am. So why don't we kind of start off by telling folks who you are and where they can find you, and then I've got some housekeeping stuff for Narcoleptic that I gotta go over, and then we'll get right into it.
So my name's Daniel Green. I go by Danny Diesel. I can be found on Instagram under Danny Diesel, Facebook under Danny Diesel, YouTube. I finally got into the algorithm. You can find me under Danny Diesel there.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me, and you can also find me at your local racetrack.
Yeah, dude, you do some racing for sure. You are all over the country all the time. It's pretty awesome to watch your stuff and just see the cool updates. I mean, you're building a car that I hope you're going to hint at later that I think we're going to see on Sick Week, right?
Yeah, so we got a couple things up our sleeve for Sick Week that I'll be shooting out some more footage within the next couple weeks on it, but it is definitely going to be a head turner, but the concept of it is pretty awesome too.
Dude, that's cool. All right, so let me get into some of this house cleaning stuff, and then we can housekeeping stuff, and then we'll get to it. So first off, I want to say that Old Car Guy, who was on the other night, Jason, OLDECARR guy, and LS Chevy Rider 254, who was on last night for the Quick 16, those guys both are in a I don't know. They're not in a competition. I think we should kind of push them to be in a little bit of competition with each other, but they're trying to get to 10,000 subs by the end of the year. Both channels are amazing. I mean, obviously, if you have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, it's a pretty big deal. You do stuff right. So everybody in the chat and watching this later, go find Old Car Guy and go find LS Chevy Rider 254. Awesome content. I want to thank our sponsors, Andy's Computer Repair. Obviously, you've heard it before. We wouldn't be out here doing this in the shop without that dude setting us up with an internet setup. And Hawassi Tire and Lube, I got to get back out to Jarrett. We've got some tires that need to be burned off. I need some burnouts in my life, and he's the one that takes care of that for us. So obviously got to do that. Subscriber count earlier. We're 39 subscribers away from 3,000. Dude, it's so crazy. It's crazy to think that there's 3,000 people that hit the subscribe button. For all the new folks that are here, thank you. For all the OGs, man, y'all are awesome. Red Hat Scotty's popping in here. He's saying, hey, what's up, my dude? And saying that he's ready. So I hope he is. I hope you and Red Hat got a little bit of time to talk to each other during Race Week. We were all at the same hotel, I think, for a little while. So you probably did.
Yeah.
On the first night. I do want to say, I know I went back and looked at our content that I've been dropping. We've been dropping a ton of shorts, so we're just going to call it hashtag drop your shorts. We're trying to get to 1 million views on the channel. It's easy with shorts. We don't make any money on shorts, so watch them multiple times, repeated video views on those. We got to get to 1 million to give the cart away. If I end up with the cart for too long, I'm going to smoke the motor and put LS in it. If I'm going to put an LS in something, I want to build a burnout car, and I don't want to build a burnout car and then give it away. So shorts on YouTube. So everybody that's been patient, appreciate that. But that leads me into the biggest announcement that we're going to have for probably the next few months until we get to Sick Week, which is what we're calling Narcoleptic. Okay, so starting the day after Thanksgiving till December 23rd, we're going daily videos. We probably won't go live every day just because it's too hard with my life. But every day you're going to get Narcoleptic content. You're going to have it for almost a solid month. I mean, if you don't like me, you better unsubscribe right now because you're going to be filled to the brim with all of our stuff. We have a ton of backlogged content that I've been editing. I just haven't finished. So you're going to get privy to some of that. Hashtag lost footage. That's always fun. I found an old SD card. I dropped 2 videos, I think this week, of footage that was old stuff. And then the last thing before we jump into this fun stuff, y'all, we've set up a Patreon account for Narcoleptic. If you like what you see here and you just want more in-depth, you want behind the scenes stuff, you want to talk about video editing, you want to talk about all the other projects we have going on in our life, Patreon's a great way to do that. It's patreon.com/Narcoleptic Customs. Super easy stuff. We'd love to see you guys over there. I will say the folks on the Patreon get patron only content. I dropped 3 or 4 videos that'll never see YouTube over there, and they also see it hours or days before anybody else does. So that's a greater way to keep up with us, stay really in the fold of what Narcoleptic Customs is doing. So anyways, enough of all of that. I'm going to go turn the heater on because it's kind of chilly and grab me a beer from the fridge. Why don't you get us started and kind of, I don't even know where to start. How about, let's see, we got so many questions. So give us like a high flyover, one, how fast the truck has been, and then kind of like horsepower, power plant, trans, and tire size while I do that, while I grab a beer.
All right, so you go grab your beer. I will entertain these guys with information about the truck. So currently I drive a 1995 Dodge 2500 diesel truck. We shortened it down, put a cage in it. We actually put a engine out of 2020 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins in it. I sent the engine to a Wagler competition. It came out of a burnt truck, so it was pretty toasted. So Wagler competition decided they were up for the challenge. They built us a 1600 horsepower Cummins engine, and we ran it 1,300 something miles this year and over 200 something passes. And the fastest mile an hour we made in that truck this year was 154 miles an hour. So,
dude, that's crazy. That's fast in the truck.
Yeah, that was over at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I never got the truck to 60 foot properly. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run it out the back. And so I just, kind of let off and got it up into about 60 pounds of boost and nitrous hit, and it felt like a rocket.
God, I can only imagine. I mean, to come out, and at that point be 60 or 100 feet out and then roll in it and end up at 150s, that's moving out.
Yeah, I couldn't, like I said, I never got my 60 foot times down properly. So I was like, as we were going through race week, I had to kind of figure out a different strategy since it wasn't hooking. So I was like, well, you know what? We'll just run it like we were running top speed, races, and we'll just ease into it and just ramp it in. So that's what we did.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what size tire do you drive on and then race on? You said it a while ago, but I was out.
We actually race on a 33-inch tall slick. It's 33-inch tall by 14-inch wide slick. And then it's kind of funny because I never done a drag and drive event before. And so the truck never had any street miles. So when we got to Noble, Oklahoma, I had a plan to take one of the rims off of my tow truck, which is a 2019 Dodge, same bolt pattern. So I was like, okay, well, I'll take one of the rims off the tow truck, and then I'll have another rim, and we'll go that route. Well, the other rim that I had was not the right bolt pattern, so I ended up putting the tow truck hooked up to my trailer on blocks at Noble, Oklahoma, and I robbed both of the back tires off.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Hey, race week stuff right there. There's guys right now that are watching this that are drag and drive event guys that know what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, the heater fan isn't too loud, is it? There's not like a ton of feedback, right?
No, I can't hear no heater. You got the heater on?
All right, good. Just want to make sure. All right, well, dude, let's start way back. Let's start like the question I always have is, was 11-year-old Danny, was he a car guy?
No way.
So then that leads me to how did you get here? How did you become a car guy?
To be really honest with you, I'm not a car enthusiast.
Okay. This will be fun.
I'm not a drag racing enthusiast. It's not something that I wake up every day and I dream to go to the racetrack. That's not my purpose out here. That's why.
Dude.
Yeah. So I like it, but it's not. I'm an odd duck, man. It's not a passion. Like, it is a passion of mine, but it's not like something I live for every day.
Oh, dude, that'll be cool. That'll add to the story then for sure. Yeah. So I reached out to your brother, Donovan, and I was like, dude, you got to give me some stories when you guys were younger. Like, he sent me a couple, and we're going to pepper them out through here. He said that you used to ride what he called the camel humps. He said on a 3-wheeler, and of course then you just kept getting faster and faster till finally it bucked you. So you want to tell us a story about this 3-wheeler and camel humps?
Yeah, that was about when I was 11 years old, actually.
Nice.
So I lived in Wyoming. It was my brother and I. We owned a 3-wheeler, obviously, and there was like these rolling hills that we would go and ride the 3-wheeler on. Well, as we get better at riding things, we tend to want to go a little bit faster and push the limits. Well, as we know, 3-wheelers aren't the safest things to ride.
No.
So I ended up falling off the 3-wheeler. The 3-wheeler ran me over, and the 3-wheeler kept going, and I was running behind it, chasing behind it. So, yeah, the 3-wheeler ended up running me over. So
that's awesome, man. There's so many people that have been ran over. We flipped. So I'm 40, so 3-wheelers were a big deal when I was a kid. And dude, we rolled so many of those things. That's hilarious.
Super easy to do, and when you get confident behind one, that's when they humble you and say, "Hey, you know what? You're not that fast, but."
That's right. So, let's talk car stuff. Let's talk early car stuff. That's a really good way to merge into that. Then, so what was your first car then?
So the first car that actually got me into like racing, I guess, would be
No. I'm talking about your first car. Like, what'd you drive first?
The first car I had was a Chevy Caprice.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep, it was an old like 80-something Chevy Caprice. My mom actually bought it for me.
Dude, that's cool. Box top Chevy, man. The LS Chevy rider and the swaps guys, they'll love that story.
Yeah,
I just put LSs on them and big wheels and things like that. So what you said you daily drive right now at 19?
Yeah, 2019 Dodge. Yep.
So the motor setup in your race truck is like you were telling me on the trip, and we're going to get into it later again, but it's like a late model Chevrolet setup or late model Dodge setup, right? It's not like a 12 valve or 24 valve engine or whatever.
Yeah, so basically we took an engine out of a brand new truck, 2020 Dodge, and we put it in a 1995 Dodge.
Yes, that's hot rodding at its finest right there. Yeah. Whatever's the newest, put it in there. We want to go the fastest.
Typically.
This is the next question I have is, when are we getting more detailed pictures of the door slammer? Because that's the new project car name, right?
Yeah, so actually, we actually have a name for the new car. It's yeah. So I don't have my hat on. I kind of feel lost without my hat right now. But my new persona is So long story short, this last summer I went and spent time with the Amish people. The guy gave me a hat, so now I've been wearing an Amish hat. So the new car is called the Amish Exorcist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
that's hilarious.
yeah. So
That's,
when
go ahead.
When will you guys get more content about that car? I would say probably within the next couple weeks.
That's awesome. And your plan is to take it on sick week, right?
That car will be on sick week. Yep.
Yes. Dude, I'm excited. I think the lead up to that is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, so we're excited. We're excited about it for sure.
Well, hey guys, listen. If you guys are enjoying what we're going, we're not even into the juicy stuff yet. I need y'all to share it. I need you to share the link. I need you to hit the like button, share the link, so more people can see what we're about to get into. Because I'll just say it like this: 1320 video said it the best. So the video I posted earlier today, you sold it all to live the dream, and in that video, you said you sold the house, the dog, the cars, all of it gone.
Everything.
So. Dude, do you want to break into that story? You can go as deep as you want on it. Do you want to get into that yet, or do you want to?
Yeah. So actually, I want to give the followers about 30 seconds to share this podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're at. I have to go get the hat. I got to go find the hat. Just give me about 30 seconds. I got to go get the hat.
That's awesome. Y'all, if you haven't seen the video that 1320 did, it's awesome. The truck's fast. He's doing a burnout competition in it. After he makes passes in it, I think in the 1320 video, he doesn't make it into the racing bracket. So then he enters the burnout competition, somehow lifts the valve cover or something, and blows oil everywhere and just stays in it. I think that pretty much sums up how he does life. So it's really cool. The story he has is awesome. So there we go. That's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I had to go get the hat. This is my new favorite hat.
Yeah. Scott Odom says I love his Amish hat.
Dude, Scott actually, I hang out with him quite often, almost every single day.
That's cool.
So, they always catch me wearing this hat. It's the deal.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what were you saying while I was gone?
Yeah. So I was just talking bad about you. Just basically saying, I was telling about the story that 1320 video did when you were at the burnout competition and making passes at the track. You're in like 694 in the 8th or something like that. And so it's just
that was over at the ice cream cruise.
Yep.
Have you ever been to the ice cream cruise?
No, it's about 8 hours from me, and dude, that's a hard Friday and then a hard Sunday coming home.
That's why you leave on Thursday,
dude. That's why you get to live the dream. It's hard enough for me to do the 2 weeks of next year. We'll have 2 weeks of race week stuff, sick week and then 2.0, and then fit a family vacation in. I'm gonna be on lockdown for a lot of the summer.
Yeah, I understand. So I met the 1320 crew at the ice cream cruise in 2020, and they just, I guess, followed me around for a few days, and it was kind of weird because I was expecting. I should never expect, but I was expecting that video to come out sooner than it did. Mm-hmm. So that event's in August. That video didn't come out until January of this year.
Wow.
And so I was sitting at work, messing around on my phone, working, and all of a sudden my social media just went boom. I was like, what the heck is going on? I started getting subscribers from all over the place, started getting messages from all over the place. I was like, what's going on? And then I just started reading some of the messages, and the video was released, and they tell my story pretty well. So
that's awesome. It's a great video. I watched it again today. I watched it, I think, the night after we met, and then again today, because I was like, I gotta reintroduce myself to that video. It's a good one.
Right. So everybody's probably wondering what that video is about.
Yeah.
So if you want to dive, if you're ready to dive into the story, let's do it, man.
Let's do it, dude.
So where to start? Where to start with the story? So in 2019, it was probably August, September of 2019. I started manifesting an idea to travel the country to inspire other people.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know how to do that, or I didn't have an avenue to do that with. So I just kept manifesting the idea over and over and over. That's kind of how I come up with a lot of my crazy ideas. And I just started putting the puzzle pieces together. So in October 2019, I bought a race trailer. In November of 2019, I went to a buddy of mine. We flew to Arizona. We rented the biggest U-Haul we could rent. We went over to a guy's shop and bought the race truck. We put the race truck in the back of the U-Haul, strapped the front of the race truck to the board that runs along in the front of the U-Haul, took two other straps and strapped it to the back of the bumper of the U-Haul, and then slammed the door on it and latched it. We're like, all right, that's going to work. And then I got a notification from U-Haul. They said, hey, you know what? We see you're going back to Oregon, so why don't you take this little trailer with you back to Oregon and we'll pay you? I was like, okay, that sounds fair enough.
Wait, hang on. How the heck did you get the truck in the U-Haul?
We had to load it. We had to load it onto a flatbed trailer, and then we took the ramps from the flatbed trailer and we kind of flipped them up, and then pushed the truck into the U-Haul.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we left Phoenix, Arizona, and this is in November. Remember that, of 2019. We left Phoenix, Arizona, and we thought it would have been a great idea to drive to the Grand Canyon.
Okay.
So we left Phoenix. We drove that night to the Grand Canyon. We slept in the back of the U-Haul with the race truck. Our feet were under the race truck. Our heads were facing the back door in sleeping bags. We woke up and it was about 31 degrees outside.
Oh, dang.
That was cold.
Yeah.
That was cold.
I would say so.
Yeah.
So your sleeping bags kept getting closer and closer together.
Oh, yeah, dude. We were cold. Yeah, we were freezing. So we, from the Grand Canyon, we went to the Salt Flats in Utah, and we unhooked the trailer. And do keep in mind, the race truck's still in the back of the U-Haul. We unhooked the trailer, and we wanted to take the U-Haul out onto the Salt Flats.
Yeah.
So we ended up topping the U-Haul out at about 95 or so miles an hour on the Salt Flats.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I get the truck, the race truck, back to Hermiston, Oregon, and we just started putting it all together. And I left. Well, rewind a little bit. So we all know what happened March 2020.
Yep.
Let's back up a little bit more. So in December, in January, and February, I basically sat behind the computer for about 10 or 12 hours a day, emailing everybody, emailing social media people, emailing sponsors, emailing magazines, letting them know what I was doing. I was basically sold everything I owned, to live in this trailer, and I was going to go drag racing. I didn't know.
That's cool.
I didn't know what I was doing, but that's what I was going to do. And a lot of people actually believed in our story, like started to believe in us. And so I rounded up a bunch of sponsors and a bunch of money, and that's what helped fund the build of the race truck. Well, now we all know what happened March of 2020. So I have a whole schedule, 20-something stops, and I'm determined to do it. Well, in March, about a third of my schedule got canceled. So
dang it.
I'm sitting here with about $15,000 of other people's money, and I don't have an avenue to advertise for them because everything's getting canceled.
Oh, dude, that's rough. That's crazy.
So from about March to April, May, I actually started backtracking and kind of contemplating on my life decisions. Was it smart to sell everything you own to go drag racing?
Yeah.
And one of my now good friends, Jeremy Wagler, he was going to have an event at his racetrack, the Diesel World COVID-19 event. Well, I called Jeremy every single week for about a month, and I said, "Are you having this event? Are you having this event? Are you having this event?" And he was bound and determined not to cancel the event. So I said, "Okay, if you promise me not to cancel the event, I'll drive 2,000 miles out to your track, and I will. That'll be the tour. That'll be the start of it."
That's awesome.
So I went out to Lyons, Indiana. And I showed up on a Thursday. They were doing testing, and I was like, "Well, shoot, you know what? Let's go testing." So, unexperienced stuff myself, I started hot lapping the drag truck because I was so excited to go racing.
Yeah.
And I ended up blowing a head gasket.
Ooh, that's not good. So, what setup is in the truck at that point?
That was a 12-valve Cummins engine with the compound turbo setup. It was about 1,200 or so horsepower. Yeah. So, unexperienced as I was, I ended up blowing a head gasket. Well, I didn't even make it to the race because the race was on Friday, Saturday.
You're in test and tune.
Yeah, so I was just testing tune. And so I blew a head gasket and test and tune. Now, do keep in mind, I am not mechanically inclined. Okay?
Ooh, that's a good combo right there.
At that point in time in my life, I never taken a head off a vehicle. I never pulled an engine. I've never dropped a transmission. Like, I had a Husky tool set from Home Depot. Like, that's all I had, and I had a jack to change the tires.
Nice.
Oh man. So I blow a head gasket, water shooting outside the block. I'm like, this ain't good. This can't be good.
Yeah.
So I went and sat in my trailer for about 3 hours and contemplated my life decisions again. And a guy that I talked to from a guy that I met from Hot Shot Secret Oil, he showed up, but I've only talked to him over the phone. So I was like, you know what? I know that guy. I talked to him over the phone. And so I walked up to him. I introduced myself. He introduced himself, and he says, "Hey, why did you stop racing? Or why did you stop testing?" I said, I blew a head gasket. He's like, "Oh, man, that's no problem. We'll get you fixed up by tomorrow. Do you have another head gasket?" I said, "Nah, ain't got that." So he says, "No problem, man. We'll get you fixed up. You know, we're out here. We're very supportive." There was probably another 10 diesel trucks out there. some of the biggest names in the industry were there. I was
Mhm.
like, all right, well, let's just, we'll just go walk around and we'll figure things out. Well, he took me over to my now good friend, Levon Miller at Fire Pump Diesel. He took me over there, and they were having dinner, and they, served me dinner, and I sat down in the lawn chair, and Levon looks over at me, and he says, "Why'd you stop racing?" And I said, "Well, I blew a head gasket." And he says, "Well, you got a head gasket?" I said, "No, I don't have a head gasket." I said, "Well, my next stop is in Crossville, Tennessee." So we're in Lyons, Indiana,
Mhm.
around near Indianapolis. And my next stop is in Crossville, Tennessee. I looked at Levon. I said, "Do you know anybody that has a shop between, those two locations, between those two stops?" And he says, "Yeah, I know a guy. He's in Plain City, Ohio." And so I pulled out my phone real quick and I said, "Plain City, Ohio. Hey, that's only 3 hours. That's only 300 miles this way, and then I can go that way, and I'll be there. We'll make the race." And I said, "You got the guy's phone number? I'll call him first thing in the morning, and we'll get all set up." He's like, "I am the guy."
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, a little bit of background about that guy is he has the world's fastest diesel truck. Like
Oh, he knows his way around.
So he's been 390. His team has been 390s in the 8th mile in his diesel truck.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's kind of like
A big deal.
yeah. And so I was a little bit gun shy, and then he invited me over to his shop to change a head gasket. I don't know how to change a head gasket, so I show up there, and he puts me in one of the bays, and he says, "Have at it, man." I said, "I don't even know where to start." And so that week they kind of coached me along, and I got the head gasket fixed, and I, made a few more stops of the tour. Showed up to the 1320 ice cream cruise in August. I blew the engine there, and I went and sat back in the trailer for a few hours.
So, all right. So let's back up before you sold everything.
Yep.
Dude, you got to tell us, what was the turning point? What made you go, "I want to do this"? There had to be, like, you saw a video, you read a book, you did something, you had a bad day at work, and you were like, "Nope, I'm doing this."
So you want to go back that far? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easy to follow your race story, by
Yeah.
YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But I want to know what flipped that switch for Danny from Daniel Green to Danny Diesel.
So I was living in Tacoma, Washington, and I had a little studio apartment there. And to be really honest with you, I wasn't in a very healthy state of mind. I secluded myself for about 8 months. I would only go to the grocery store, and I would come home, and I would either watch TV or I would work because I had a remote job at that time, and I would work, or yeah. So I would basically just go to the grocery store, get groceries, come home, and work. And I would do very minimal social interaction with people.
Let me ask, and this is deeper than we typically go, but it's really interesting to me. Would you say you're a social person, and then pulling away, maybe you didn't feel comfortable talking to folks again? I mean, I don't want to get too deep and philosophical here, but that's, dude.
No, we can go as far as you want with this. I'm very transparent with it.
So I found, like, working from home for 16 months or something, dude, it was hard on me. Like it would be difficult for me to then like go to an event or something like that and be able to conversate with people. It took me a while to get back into that, but now I've been going back in the office for almost 8 months now, and there's 3 or 4 of us, so it's nice. But do you feel like that maybe had a little, like, it maybe prolonged those feelings of
I worked from home there for about 2 years. I was working from home, And I just fell into a slump where I just didn't want to interact with people. I just, you know, it's kind of weird, but I am an extrovert. I do have an extrovert personality. Like,
Yep.
you know, being around people wears me out mentally. I'm getting better at it, but I just, you know, I just didn't feel like being around people. I just,
Yeah.
you know, I went to the grocery store and I came home and I sat on the couch, or like I said, I sat in front of my desk.
Yep.
And
Dang,
I
dude.
did that. I did that for about 2 years, and then a very it was in August of 2000. It was I get my years mixed up a little bit, but I think it was August 2018. August 2018. There was a gentleman. He ended up stealing a plane from the SeaTac airport. Richard, his name was Richard. So, like I said, he ended up stealing a plane from the SeaTac airport, and he actually flew over my apartment complex. From SeaTac airport, he flew over my apartment complex, flew around Mount Rainier, and then started coming back. And when he flew over the apartment complex, the planes never fly over my apartment complex. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, what the heck's going on? And then it showed up in the news, and then I turned the air traffic control on, and I started hearing what was happening. And you guys can go and, you know, research what happened, but the guy ended up stealing a passenger plane. It was a propeller plane from Alaska Airlines. He flew around for like an hour and a half, and then he got on the flight recorder and he says, "Do you guys think I could do a barrel roll with this plane?" And the pilot that was helping him was like, "Yeah, man, it's probably not a good idea." He's like, "I just want to do a barrel roll, and then I'll bring this thing down safely." Well, he ended up doing that. Plane's not designed for a barrel roll.
Right.
My life was not designed to be a drag racer. So he ended up doing a barrel roll. He came about 10 feet off the ground of the Puget Sound, which is off the water, and he ended up taking his life that day.
Dang.
Yeah. But you know what? He had the opportunity to take a lot of other people's life too. But he didn't do that. You know, he just wanted to do a barrel roll.
Yeah. So, you know, in our early conversations, kind of leading up to this live feed, you know, you shared that story with me, and then I watched some videos. I did some research after that, you know, and you could tell that dude was just having a good time. Like he knew what was coming, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he knew as soon as he took it, he knew what was going to happen.
Almost definitely.
Yeah, but you know, that was something he wanted to do. You could tell he's like, man, I've flown a ton of flight simulator and all that kind of stuff, and he's talking to the guys, and he's in a good mood, and like the guys in the tower have no idea what to do. So
he was just a genuine dude. He just wanted to fly the skies, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just a genuine dude. I'm just a genuine dude out here just trying to inspire people to do the unthinkable.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's so crazy because so many people get so scared of like what can happen, you know?
Yeah.
And so when stories come along like yours, I mean, dude, like you sold it all. And like, you know, you telling the story, you're not really a drag racer. I mean, like, there's no, like, if you had decided to race motocross, people would have laughed at you. But like, I feel like the race car community probably embraced it a little bit. I mean, am I crazy to say that?
You know, the love and the support that I've gotten, I've never felt before.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. And that's what's even wilder to me is the love and support that, Drag and Drive. We always say family, but dude, it
Yeah.
really is, and
Oh, the if you guys haven't been to a Drag and Drive event, y'all are missing out, because honestly, like that, there's not one person that I can think of in the Rocky Mountain, in the Rocky Mountain Race Week family, that wouldn't help another racer out as much as they possibly could.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's wild, man, and that family is so great. Noel M. Caddy Lee here says, very proud of you.
Hey, thank you.
Richard Edward, earlier when you said the name was Richard, he said that's not me. Talking about the airplane, but he's coming to Race Week 2022, so I'm excited. For him to do that. So, all right, so I think we're kind of caught up on what got you, what kind of triggered that.
So that moment triggered me to start to get help with my mental condition.
Yeah.
So, and it all kind of spiraled from there.
Yep. And then I had talked to Donovan a little bit on Race Week. Like, you'd be up making a pass, and if he wasn't up with you, we kind of seemed to pit together a couple days, and so we would talk and stuff. And I would say he's a pretty big car guy, right? Yeah,
he's always been a car guy. He's always been tinkering with something.
Yeah. So it was cool to hang out with him, and then, dude, be up in the lanes and see you like make rips in that truck. We're going to talk Race Week here in a minute, because it's a crazy story. You guys changed the like you were the ones that recommended us change the trans fluid on the cart, hoping it would save our lives, and it didn't. But hey, that's all right. That's Blaine's fault that we didn't we didn't get anywhere. All right, so let's work through the first big trip. So you're getting ready. You've got some sponsor money, because you told me at one time you were sending like 100 emails a day. Is that crazy to think?
Yeah. So from for December 2019 through about February 2019, I would send about 100 emails a day to companies, to sponsor my trip. And I just want to clarify, a sponsor is not, when you're out recruiting sponsors, you're not out there just for a handout. You know what I mean? In return of the financial or the monetization that they gave me, I put their sticker on my truck. So I was advertising for them.
Yeah. And so when you're putting together the first trip, you're talking about Wagler event earlier. Carl Steamy here says, much respect to this gentleman.
Thank you.
Yep. Carl's pretty awesome. So your first trip, you're talking to the Wagler guy, and you said he's in Indiana, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's 2,000 miles, and you're like, so where do you? I'm trying to figure out how you start from that point, measuring like where you're going to go, because this is the first time, you're driving a truck, a trailer with a race truck in it, some tools, and you're like, I'm going to this track. And then from there, did things open up? Because it sounds like you were Crossville, Tennessee the next week.
Yeah.
Did you have like a plan of like 8 races that you were going to attend and look around?
So, if you're going to do something, you got to do it right, And so I had a schedule. Of events that I wanted to attend, as long as they didn't get canceled.
Yep.
So I just basically went off my schedule. I had a route that I was going to follow, and events that the bigger events that I was going to get the publicity that I was, that I sold my sponsors. I told them, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be in front of this many people. So those are the events that I had to go to.
Yep, that's awesome. And so you go to your first one, you blow a head gasket before you even start racing. Walk us through the emotions of that, because like, dude, it's rough. We all, like, you break, but you're not anywhere close to home. So
2,000 miles away from home.
Yeah. So now you've got to, like, it's on your wits, which obviously, I mean, you can talk to people and things like that, but like it's on your wits now to figure out how to get it fixed. And then you've got to do it within a week, because now you're trying to get to another event,
to the next
because
event,
some other events have been canceled. So, we always call it luck, but dude, if you put yourself in the right spot so many times, you're going to end up in the right spot. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That event actually, I built so much social media attention, and so I actually had people drive from the furthest was 6 hours away to come and watch me race.
Dude, that's awesome.
And that guy, Kyle Malone, he's like, hey man, he's the one that pointed out the head gasket. And I was like, well, what was going through my mind was more like, I had to dig deep inside myself to continue to fight, because I couldn't go back to Oregon. I really couldn't go back to Oregon. So I was like, well, I got to sit out here and figure this out. And these are the people, these diesel people got to know how to fix the head gasket. So I'm not going back to Oregon. So we got to get it fixed.
Yep. And dude, hey, I'll tell you this, that takes a big dig in yourself to go, I'm not going home. I'm going to make this work. And so that's, what'd you say, August of 2020? No, it'd be before that.
No, it was July. It was July of 2020. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, it took about 3 hours for me to dig that pit in my stomach to not go home.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. Mark Edwards says O'Reilly should sponsor Danny. Everybody should sponsor Danny. What are you talking about? Y'all send this dude money. Venmo this guy some sponsorship money or some patron money. That's what we got to do. We got to get you a Patreon or something, man.
Yeah, I gotta get something out there. But I do have a Venmo. We'll put that in the comments at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's a lot of what has been inspiring in the last couple of years is, like I said, man, digging deep down inside you to fight.
Yeah.
And people use so many things as excuses, and I don't, honestly, I'm probably going to offend some of your viewers or whatnot, but you know what? You guys got to stop using your life circumstances as an excuse, because you put yourself there,
Yep.
And if you're not a racer, that's okay. But if you have something in your heart, in your soul that you want to go and do, even if it's a family vacation, if it's you want to build a shop, whatever it is you want to do, just put the plan together and freaking go out and do it.
Yep. Yeah, it's really easy to plan stuff. It's really hard to execute, and that takes a lot of time for people to get that. And one other thing we talk about, even just car builds, like I want to have this car done for this event. Well, when you say I want to have it for that, then go make that list, make that roadkill list on the board of stuff that's got to get done, and just keep adding to it. And like, this is what I love to do. I love to make a big list, and it'll say like, install engine, right? Okay, well within that, once I get the engine in, okay, then I can break out the install engine part, and it's like motor mounts and blah 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 blah, fuel lines and all that kind. Like when you're starting your list, don't make it 700 points. Just put install engine, install trans.
Just keep things simple, but.
Yep.
you know, just people
Yep.
use their life circumstances as
Yep.
excuses.
Yep.
Like they say, well, I can't do this because I don't make enough money.
Yep.
Well, you probably do make enough money, but you probably spend it all in the wrong places.
Yeah, that's exactly right, dude. That's
You know,
exactly right. Yep.
you know, people
The
say they don't have money, but the new iPhone comes out, and what do they got? They got a brand new iPhone.
No, yeah, dude. Hey, yep. Oh, it's only $40 a month. Well, dude, that's 500 a year. That's a that's a short vacation.
Exactly.
That's a short LS short block. Or long
Hey,
block in some
yep,
junkyard stuff. All
yep.
right,
So,
so let's get to some car stuff. What does what does a typical week look like for you? I think everybody wants to say they want to live your lifestyle and work on cars all the time and travel the country and race. So what's a week look like for you?
so currently, I am hunkered down at CFT Performance in St. Louis, Missouri, for the winter. Uh, this is kind of my central point of my next year. I have good friends over here. They provide me with shop space.
Cool.
They give me a little office space here, internet, which I need to keep things
Yep.
rolling. Uh, a week for me looks like I just you know I sit behind this desk probably a good 9 hours a day, marketing myself via email, social media. I also run a couple businesses
Yep.
here also, and I tend to answer the phone here at CFT.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, if you're at the desk, man, you might as well.
you might as well answer the phone too while they're out building stuff.
Yep.
It was funny because the first week that I was here, they put a phone on my desk, and he says, "Hey, if it rings, just answer it," and a
Yep.
customer call, and I'm like, "Hello, CFT Performance," and they just start talking, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I just want to be honest with you. It's only my second day on the job. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll get the answers for you."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, so I just answer the phones here at CFT. I market myself. I send out emails. I run my two other businesses. Currently, we are tearing apart the race truck, so
Yep.
we got a couple of surprises up our sleeve on the race truck. So we got to pull the engine out. The transmission's already been pulled out because that thing was toasted
You
from
mean
race week.
you mean race weeks is hard on transmissions? What? Driving 1,500 miles is hard on race car stuff?
Actually, it wasn't hard on the transmission. The torque, what we suspect is that the torque converter was shearing itself apart.
Oh yeah, that's always
Yeah.
good.
The transmission's good though. Like
Yeah.
they already went through it, but the torque converter was shearing itself apart is what we suspect.
That's what kind of torque does that truck make?
About 1,800 foot-pounds of torque.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty wild when you let go of that trans brake button.
Oh, I can only imagine. So your life isn't much different than most folks. You're just getting to live the dream, is what you're saying.
It's a dream. It's a dream to some, but it's a nightmare to others.
Right? Oh,
uh, it takes a lot to keep the program running. I
yeah.
like I said, I sit behind the desk about 8 or 9 hours a day, marketing myself, selling myself, pretty much selling my story.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And then I have this question here. It's like doing this full time. What is something you'd tell someone that is wanting to live that lifestyle?
If you are out here and want to do and live this lifestyle, uh, make good friends with people that have a lift.
That's the best one yet, dude.
Hey man, Your best friend better have a lift, is all I can say.
Yeah, and you better have friends all over the country. Because, like, working
that have
on,
a lift.
Yeah. So, it's like an LS setup. I mean, I don't know what those engines weigh, but like they're a lot lighter than a diesel for sure.
Yeah,
that stuff is heavy stuff.
Yep.
So let's spin off into some drag and drive event stuff.
Okay.
Like I've said, we met on race week. We met, I think, day 2. We were at the same hotel and hanging out. And obviously, the truck is it's awesome. It's drawing. People were all over it all night. It was super cool. And then we're going to see each other on Sick Week, which I'm super pumped about.
That's going to be fun.
I'm co-piloting for Sick Week, so I'm hoping to ride in like 2 or 3 different cars every day. Would be my goal, to kind of pop in to some stuff between checkpoints or something like that. I'm riding with Justin Chestnut, so
okay.
He'll be by himself a little bit. I'm trying to figure out if we put a third seat in the car, does his wife just ride with us? And then she can pop up front while I hop in with somebody else. You know what I mean? So we may we're doing some conversation there.
You know what you could do? You say you want to ride in, 2 or 3 vehicles a day. Like, just at one of the checkpoints, have a sign right there that says "Racer in need of a ride." Someone's gonna pick you up,
Oh, yeah.
Or get dropped off on the side of the road and just have a sign out there, like someone's gonna have more than 2 seats in their car, so they'll pick you up. That's what I would do. I would do that. I would have a sign right there that says "Racer need a ride."
Yep. I'm gonna come up with something like that. Just a little cardboard sign. Not homeless, need ride.
Not homeless. I need a ride, or co-pilot got kicked out and give me a ride. Something like that.
No longer co-pilot in car number 1.
I think that's what I would do, because that's just going to add to your adventure. You stand out on the road. You stand out on the road for 30 minutes holding a sign.
Yep.
But the thing is. Go ahead.
I was going to say, somebody's going to pick me up, and then Carl Steamy says, "Show some skin for that ride."
Exactly, dude. We're going to be in Florida, bro. You can have Daisy Duke shorts on. It's like, I need a ride.
No, nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that, I promise.
All right. Well, okay. Just saying, awesome. You could.
Danny here says, your chance to be on my podcast show. I'm hoping that's what he means by, I'm hoping that's what would be on my sign. Be on TV,
You could, you very much could do that.
Yeah. Danny says no shorts, no shorty shorts, dude. And I think we probably answered it earlier, but what's your favorite part of the drag and drive events?
My favorite part of the drag and drive events, Rocky Mountain Race Week is still kind of a blur to me, but my favorite part is there's a lot of celebrities, YouTubers that go to these events, but what I learned is they're just people like you and me, man.
Yep.
It's
so cool to end up at a gas station with some of the more famous folks and just be talking, just like your regular dudes at the gas station. That's pretty neat. Yeah,
like I was shooting the stuff with Mike Finnegan there for like 30 minutes in the staging lanes.
Yep.
I'm pretty good friends with Brent over at PFI Speed, so hanging out with them, walking up to Alex Taylor and just having a casual conversation with her.
Yep.
Like that, honestly, when you're at the racetrack, your social media status, like when it comes between racers and racers, it's not there. Everybody's there to do the same thing, have the same amount of fun.
Yep. And I'll say that too about like what I found was lunchtime and gas stations were the best time to talk to, that level of folks, and really anybody, because like when a lot of those guys, when they're at the track, it's business.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I'm not a racer. We did some racing, but I'll co-pilot from now on. My brother is a way better driver than I am, so he will pilot stuff in the future, and I'll just ride.
Right.
So,
right.
And I'll just
even meeting you, I was like, because I've seen your car around, and then I seen it in the hotel. And I was like, and then you guys kind of backed in. I was kind of a little bit gun shy there for a second. I was like, that's that one guy. I've seen that guy before.
That's the guy that annoys everybody all over the place.
Yeah. We drove, the first night of race week, my brother and I were like, hey, we should probably put some street miles on this thing because it's never been on the street. And
dude, are you serious? That's crazy.
Dude, that truck has never hit the street, like not even around the block, nothing. So we put the street tires on it off of the 2019. We put the street tires on it. We said, hey, you know what? Let's just go for a low street drive. We'll go down to the hotel where everybody says that they're hanging out because we're part of the little group there, and we'll just roll up there. And yeah, we showed up, man, and I was a little bit shy there for a second, but once we got the ball rolling, I just felt like family.
Dude, it's crazy how you can be drawn into that group of folks. Like the 301 guys were all there. That was a ton of fun. So to paint the picture for everybody, we're at this hotel. It's like 4 or 5 stories tall. You pull in the front, and it's packed with normal cars, except for the grass and like some of the side spots. But the front is like vans and kind of cars. There's some cool stuff up front, but nothing wild. You pull around back, and it's like race car city back there, and like 40 people hanging out in the middle of the parking lot. Just standing back there talking. I mean, there were some beers going around. It's so much fun. It's like the vacation you need. Like people need to lay
was
back.
A blast.
Yep.
And we met you guys. We met Red Hat Scotty there that night, and we just hung out. And yeah, that was the spark of the movement.
Yeah, dude, that week was crazy town. So, for everybody that's watching that hasn't seen all of my race week stuff, we lost Overdrive day 3. Day 4, we're like limping along. I think we see you guys somewhere, and you're like, hey, change the trans fluid. We saw you at Kicker, I think. Change the trans fluid. That's what helped us, because you guys had already changed your trans fluid in the truck once or maybe twice, 3 times. Yeah.
3 times.
So, and that's what's hard for people to get is like, dude, it's not even if you have a dialed rig, driving that many miles is hard on stuff.
Yeah,
and changing fluids is interesting because everything's hot. You don't have time for it to cool down for 3 hours and then change the fluid. No,
you don't, because on 2.0, you're racing every single day.
Yeah. Donovan's saying that wasn't fun because you guys did one of the changes I know of on the side of the road, right?
Like
in a parking lot or something.
In a parking lot, yeah, we did one of the changes in the parking lot. And then the other change was both the other changes were at the drag race racing there.
That's crazy.
So, but the driving of the vehicle wasn't that. I don't think it is what beat up our vehicles that much. I think it was the Oklahoma roads, man.
Yes, dude, they were brutal. It was, I think, in the right lane, every section of concrete was like an inch higher, and it was just for an hour.
Yeah. So I don't know how your car rides. It might ride fairly decent,
Oh, it's a Grand Marquis, dude. We're plush, man. We're good.
Yeah. So imagine riding in. The rear tires were inflated up to 80 pounds because, remember, I took them off the tow truck because I didn't have any other tires. So they were 80 pounds rock solid. We had coilovers. That were fully tight. Dude, it was like, honestly, it was pretty rough, man. It was just, we were getting beat to crap. I had one of my 4-link bars break. My fuel cell broke. My transmission went out. But you know what? We adapt and overcame all those obstacles, my brother and I. Yep. And you know, there was a couple heated moments in there where I was like, he got a little upset with me, but you know, we persevered through it all, and we're still brothers to the day.
That's awesome. So I'll ask this too, because I asked him, I think a couple weeks ago, how much, as adult brothers, it's hard to spend that much time together, you know? So like for Stephen and I, it had been years since we had been that much time together. Danny says, try being on a motorcycle with those roads. It was much more.
He's just throwing wheelies the whole time, probably.
Dude, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine, one, doing a motorcycle on race week, and then two, obviously riding a motorcycle on some of those roads. So had you guys spent a bunch of time together previous to that, or are you kind of like every other adult brother combo and you see each other at, vacations and holidays and things like that?
Well, I won't get too far into it, but my brother and I, we through our childhood, we were very distant.
Gotcha.
So it was just been about the last 10 years that him and I have actually gotten closer.
That's
but
cool.
I don't think I've lived with him off and on as my adventures have gone through life, but I can't say that we've spent that much time together in the last 10 years, like sleeping in hotels together, a full week together. It tested our brotherhood a couple times.
Yeah, dude. Hey, and it's so stressful, but then at the end of the week, just like you said earlier, it's a blur. Like I have to document that stuff because I don't remember how things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, on Thursday. Oh no, it was actually Wednesday. Oh no, actually that was Monday, because you lose all track of your life that week. It's so crazy.
For sure. Yeah.
The only thing I know is follow all the other cool cars, and we're going to race that night.
No, the thing is, dude, is we we're not very how do I say this properly? Following the directions on paper wasn't very easy for us. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Yep.
So when we broke down, and guys, keep in mind, okay, at Rocky Mountain Race Week, you literally have to drive like 200 miles and then race and then pack up all your stuff and try to figure out where you're going to stay the night. And then tomorrow you have to do it all over again. There's no break in between this. Okay.
Yep.
So, navigating those roads were awfully challenging until we met a couple road weekers.
Oh,
and we met a guy named Mark Edwards. I've seen his comments come up here. And his future son-in-law, we met him. And we actually met him in a very trying time because our fuel cell was broke and it was leaking all over the parking lot of O'Reilly's.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it cracked. And Kuda Rich, I think his name is. Kuda Rich. He showed up and he's like, hey, here, you can borrow my fuel can. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's not E85 or gas, it's diesel. You sure we can borrow your can? He's like, yeah, man, no problem. It's not going to be an issue. So we drained the fuel cell, and as we were draining the fuel cell, Mark and his son-in-law showed up, and they pulled up like right behind us. And I was like, and they got out, and they're all happy-go-lucky, and we're like frowning down, we're got our broke truck, and we got to talking, and Mark's like, "Oh, dude, we'll stick with you guys this week. It seems like you guys, need our help. We'll just stick with you guys." And I'm like, "Oh man, dude, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, dude, I hope this guy's not freaking annoying. How are we gonna try to ditch this guy?
Yep.
Because you don't like."
Hey, dude, it's a fine line to walk with. Like, do you try and shuck them, or like, do you just hang out with the, if they're annoying, do you hang out with them just because they're folks that are going to be around? I'm with you.
It was that, but I was also under the idea, like, I'm the only drag diesel guy there. Was this guy kind of wanted to just hang out with me and just try to be cool, or what was his alternative motive, And come to find out, dude, and I don't know if this is in the rules or not, but if we broke the rules, I'm sorry, but we followed Mark the whole way.
That's awesome. I don't think that's against the rules. I think that's fine.
Okay, because if it wasn't for Mark and Mark Edwards and his son, dude, or his son-in-law, we would have been up shit creek. Like, it was bad. And they guided us to Summit, and we went in Summit. And when we came out of Summit with the new fuel cell, Mark had a canopy over the back of our truck, and Mark spoiled us the whole week. And like I said, I'm not sure if that's against the rules, but I can tell you they never helped us. Mark never helped us. He just, somehow the canopy got over my truck.
Well, they set it up. You backed under it. I mean, I get how it works.
Yeah, I thought it was a courtesy thing, so I just pulled. It was just there. So.
Summit did that. Yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah. We were parked next to you guys at Mid America Dragway, and super nice guys. He came over a couple times, checking on us, making sure we were okay. We were over under the cart trying to get the trans fluid changed. And the cool thing I would say about race transmission pans is typically they have a drain. The shitty thing about having a factory transmission pan on a 03 Grand Marquis is there's no drain plug.
Oh.
So, like, you've got to make the mess. So, like, it just took forever. So I'm like trying to drain it so slow so I'm not making this huge mess on their parking lot.
Yeah.
And we got it done without making something crazy. But literally the second I pull it down, there was like a quart left in it, and it flips and everywhere. So then I was laying in it, fixing it. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I remember giving you that advice, but I thought you had a drain plug.
Yeah, hey man, hey, no worries. When the LS goes in, it'll have a drain plug for sure. I mean, did I say that out loud? I think I said that out loud. The good thing is it already has a turbo, so we already have a ton of turbo LS stuff. So if people sign up for our Patreon, the LS swap will come a lot faster. Bad Tree Productions here says, what was the best gas station food on the trip?
The best gas station food on the trip was
Mark Edwards here saying QT Pizza. Dude, I had some of the best corn dogs ever. One from QT, and then another janky gas station we stopped in somewhere in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right, because Mark was with us when we changed the trans fluid in the parking lot, and his son-in-law actually went over and got a pizza and brought it over. So yeah, it was probably the pizza was the saver that day for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
One other thing too, thinking about tempers earlier, and Carl Steamy said him and his co-pilot almost fought in 2012 Drag Week. A lot of times it's food related. Your blood sugars are low. You're drinking nothing but water. You're flushed out, and you're hot. Ooh, oh man, Alita, Buc-ee's. I didn't think about Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is good, but when you're in a desperate need of a QT pizza,
yeah, yep,
yeah.
Danny says the tamales in a rundown gas station somewhere in Oklahoma. Dude, I don't know if I'd have trusted that than to get on the road, man. It was warm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd trust tamales out of Oklahoma.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the Ram. Let's give people the full story because we've kind of you talked a little bit about the engine setup, but I want to know like the progression. So if you had a compound turbo 12 valve, what was the build from there? So you bought the truck. Did it have the 12 valve in it when you bought it?
No, it didn't. When I bought it, it was already shortened. Yep. It's a very common thing to do with these chassis. It was already shortened, and it already had a roll cage in it. So that's all. That's bare bone. That's all I had.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. And the easiest engine at that time for me to put in it was a 12 valve because I already had a whole bunch of parts,
Gotcha.
laying around. So, so 2020, we ran the 12 valve until we blew it up at the ice cream cruise. And then we drove down to Texas and bought another 12 valve, put that in it, and ran the rest of the season. So a 12 valve is a really common diesel, or earlier year diesel engine. Very easy to do swaps and all that stuff with them. Kind of like an LS now, but in the diesel world, 12 valve. But it got so after 2020 season, I picked up a bunch of social media momentum per se.
Yep.
And I was talking to Jeremy Wagler, and he owns a machine shop in the diesel industry. And I was talking to him, and I said, "Hey, what would it take for you to build me basically a bulletproof 12 valve engine?"
Yep.
And while I'm talking about this story, maybe you can go onto my Facebook page and go through the truck build. I know you've done this before, but go through the truck build and you'll see a burnt engine. There's a burnt engine on there.
Okay.
But anyways, so I was talking to Jeremy Wagler, and I said, "What will you do? What would it take for you to build me a 12 valve engine that I just can't destroy? I don't want any issues this year. I had enough issues last year. Don't want any issues this year." He said, "To be honest with you, I am not interested in building you a 12 valve."
Okay.
I said, "Okay, well, that kind of, puts me down a little bit." I said, "What are you interested, or what would spike your interest to team up with us this next year?" And he says, "I would be interested in building you a 2020 long block Cummins motor."
Dang.
And I said, "Well, hey, buddy, I might travel the country a little bit, and you might think I'm a rich boy, but I ain't a rich boy." So,
That's awesome.
So I was, so I said, "Okay," we put together a proposal, and I said, "All right, I'm going to go out and find an engine, and then we'll start from there." A brand new engine a used brand new engine would cost me about $10,000 to $13,000.
Oh yeah.
And I see you going through there.
Sorry. Yeah, I figured I would pull it up while I'm running down through here. So like,
I think no, that's the 12 valve engine.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll keep talking. I don't think you're in the. I don't know. That was the 12 valve. Yeah, that was the 12 valve the compound turbo setup that STL Fab put together for me. You're a little bit too far. You're too far down. You're in 2019.
Okay. Gotcha.
Keep going. Yeah, you're still in 2019. You still got.
Okay, so I need to go down.
Yeah, you need to keep going. No, other way.
Okay.
Go. Went too far. No, you're in the old build. I have it organized on here. I'll find it real quick. But anyways, guys, I'll send it to you real quick on Messenger. I can find it. Anyways, so I was talking to Jeremy Wagler, and he says, he'll do a 2020 engine for me. I said, all right, let me see what I can find you. And so I went on. I was talking to a couple of my diesel friends, and they said, it's going to cost you about, $10,000 to $13,000 for this engine, and that's unmodified. That's strictly stock. That's a
Yeah.
long block, no fuel, no nothing. I was like, oh, I can't afford that.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
So what did I do? I ended up getting on eBay, and I found I ended up going on eBay and I found an engine, and so the newer Dodges, they were having issues with transmission fires.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I ended up finding a burnt engine, which I found it right here. I need these people they have to see this engine, okay? Because this kind of simulates or kind of tells my story. So give us just okay. Check your messenger in just a couple seconds here. All right, there you go. It's in your messenger. Anyway, so I found this burnt engine. And
hang on, I'm getting it pulled up. Keep talking.
So I found this burnt engine, and I told Jeremy, I said, "Hey, dude, I found an engine. It's a killer deal. It's $3,500." He said, "Send it to me." And this is the engine right here. He said, "Man, that thing looks a little rough, but send it to me, and we'll see what we can do with it." I said, "Okay." So I bought it off of eBay. I sent it to Jeremy, and while he was building the engine, I had to go around the diesel community and get all the supporting mods for this engine. Now that I've partnered with Jeremy on it, and so I ended up reaching back out to Levon. If you guys remember, an hour and 20 minutes ago, I was talking about Levon helping me with the head gaskets. I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, what can you help me with this with this next project?" And he was all on board with it. He ended up sponsoring me a few things here and there. I got a fuel system for it, and then I already had the turbo for it, and all that good stuff. So now I'm getting back on here.
Okay. What size turbo is on your truck now?
An 85. What is that? 8596 132 turbo from Force Induction.
Dude, that's a huge turbo for a diesel. Huge.
Yeah. So I just check your messenger. I just sent you the after picture so we can show the people what great work was done to that engine.
Almost there. I'm getting it figured out. Hang on, guys.
No problem. But anyway, so I went around the diesel community and I scrounged up parts for this build, and there's the current engine. So it went from the burn engine, and now this is this is the newer version of it. So like I said, I went around the diesel community. I basically had to sell myself again, and I told them, I was like, "Hey, here's the engine we're working with. Here's the program we're working with." Yeah. So
Dude,
now we have
wild.
a 1600 horsepower 2020 CGI block Street Fighter engine in the truck.
So, to make more than 600 or 700 horsepower in an LS, rods and pistons. I mean, is that like stuff that you do in a diesel, or is that like how are there any stock pieces left on that setup?
That engine does have stock pistons. It does have the Wagler Street Fighter rods in it. It has a stock crank. It does have a built head.
Wow.
So, So the bottom end is strictly rods.
Yep. And that's badass. And then cam stuff, I mean, I'm sure
it's
there's
a stock
companies.
cam. Nope,
Wow.
stock cam. Yep, stock Cummins cam.
That's wild. So is a cam in a diesel like a cam in a it's not like a cam in a gasoline setup for sure at that point. So I mean, there's companies that make that stuff. Like, can you pick up another 100 horsepower, another 200 horsepower with a cam swap? I mean, like,
that's a very good question. We haven't went down the road of that just yet with the new style engines.
Yeah.
Because Cummins changed their engines in 2019. They changed the whole. They changed pistons. They changed the head design. Like, they changed a bunch of stuff. So we haven't went down that avenue yet. But hey, speaking of it, actually, we might next year.
That's cool. So, diesel RPM stuff. The newer diesels obviously turn more RPM than like a 12 valve will. What kind of RPMs are you turning in this setup?
This setup, we turn approximately about 4,500 to 5,000.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, that's not very many. When you start talking about like really high horsepower LS stuff, I mean, they're turning those like $8,000, 8,500.
Well, a stock diesel engine only turns like my tow truck will turn 2,800 RPMs. That's it.
That's crazy. So what kind of RPM range is because that turbo is gigantic. Yeah. So I'm trying to explain it to folks, for it to feed a turbo that big on a diesel generally takes RPM and exhaust volume. That's what turns a turbo is exhaust volume. Mm-hmm. So do you have any real boost below 2,500 RPMs? I mean, is it like nothing, and then just boom?
So to answer your question, there's not a lot of power at about 2,500.
Right.
But the power really starts coming in about 28 to 3,000 RPMs. But nitrous is our friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I go up to the line, and when you guys see me race the truck, I'll do my burnout, and then I will creep along. I'll hold the brake almost all the way to the floor, and I'll press the gas, kind of riding the brake. And what we're doing there is we're creating heat. Mm-hmm. We're creating heat inside the turbo, and the more heat we can get inside the turbo, it's going to start spooling. Yep. And then when I get up to the line, I press my trans brake button, and then that activates the nitrous, and nitrous will start spraying inside, and then that's what will light that big charger.
That's awesome. So what size converter is in that truck? I mean, is it like all right, back up. What trans is in it, one, and I know you said earlier, but I was turning the heater on. What trans is in it, and then what size converter is in it?
That transmission is basically, it's a stock case out of the 1995 Dodge. It's a 47 RH transmission.
What?
Yeah,
dude, that's wild.
It has all billet internals. Obviously, bigger clutch packs. Yep. The converter is from DPC Converters. It's a 4-disc converter on that. So
wow. I guess it would probably have to be to hold the amount of torque that you're turning at such a low RPM.
Yeah, we're turning 1,800 foot-pounds of torque on a switch. We lock up. That torque converter has a lockup. So when we shift into second gear, about quarter of a second in the second gear, we hit lockup, and it's full direct from the engine to the rear end. It's direct.
That's wild, dude. What software do you run diesel stuff with? Like, is it Holly is typical, LS World stuff? I mean,
It's a stock '06 ECM.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
I can't imagine the computer wizardry that would go into like that computer running that new of an engine, you know?
Yeah, a lot of the diesel stuff is a lot different than the gas. We don't mess around a lot with the timing
Hmm.
of the engine. We mess at least on the common rails. We don't mess around. On gas, you add more timing for more power. Well,
Yeah.
on diesel stuff, we set the timing, and then we add more injector pulse width to add more power.
Oh, I got you. Okay. And so, like Stevens built several different diesel setups, like a
Hmm.
12 valve and then 24 valve stuff. And so, when you talk about, 100 over injectors and things like that, like, I
Right.
mean, but the level you're at, like, I can't even imagine the trying to do the software tuning for, adding extra pulse width to the
Yeah,
injectors.
to the
What I mean? That's
injector.
just wild, dude.
I,
What?
I leave that up to the other guy on the other side of my email. He just
Yep.
emails me the file. I put it in, and he knows what he's doing. All I know is I have to let go of the transfer button and go.
That's awesome. So when like race week is a good example. Did you just was it kind of like a single tune set and forget, get me through the
Yep.
week type tune?
Yep.
Yep. Now at an event, would you email him or call him and go, hey, I need more. It can go faster. There's more traction at this track. I mean, are you
No.
that competitive with it?
Mm-mm. Nope. Because I've struggled all year to get that chassis to hook up and go.
Yeah.
So I knew my 60-foot wasn't going to be good.
Yep.
So I knew I was just going to have to top in the truck. And we struggled at Noble trying to get a good 60-foot out of it. And
Mhm.
we just kind of said, you know what, let's just hop in the truck. And so with, a lot of your viewers, they probably have diesel trucks, and you have a tow tune, you have a street tune, you have different tunes on your truck, and the only thing we changed was like the what's it called, the staging limiter. That's pretty much all we really changed. We didn't have to change tunes or anything like that.
Yep. Well, and being one of the, I think you were the only diesel truck, right, or diesel rig all week, right? No, the
No,
Chevelle had the Duramax in it. That's right.
well, yeah, our buddy Rick was with us, and then that a rat rod. Remember that rat rod
Oh, Bernie,
guy
yeah,
was? Yeah,
yep,
Bernie was there also.
yep.
We did a little friendly grudge race at the where was it? I think it was in, I don't know where it was, but we raced each other, and yeah,
That's awesome. That truck is fast, fast.
that
He's
truck is fast, fast.
Yeah, he's got you by some pounds, I'm sure. But your truck's pretty light. What's that thing weigh?
Unfortunately, it only weighs about 4,000 pounds.
Well, dude, 2,000 of it's under the hood and the trans and rear, I'm
That's
sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's where we kind of that's where what that's the issue with the truck, is it's so nose heavy, and so we're trying to figure out how to get it to transfer weight so it can actually hook and go. And I skipped geometry class in high school, and so I don't
Yeah.
know how a 4 link works. And yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say, I know we saw you guys moving bars. You were changing quite a bit of stuff during the week.
hmm,
The few times we were able to hang out while you were wrenching on it.
yeah,
So, do you think like moving forward? So it's 4 link now. Do you think
yep.
you'll like? I mean, obviously you're probably going to stay 4 link, but how do you fix that? Do you scoot the engine back more? Is there room to do that? Is there, do you squat it a little bit? Like how do you?
Our plan right now, as I scratch my head, trying to think about this, our our plan currently is to we're gonna build a new fuel cell. It's gonna be about the bottom of it is a quarter inch thick mild steel.
Yes.
So we're gonna add some weight to the back. We're
Cool.
gonna it's gonna be a 20-gallon fuel cell. The fuel cell alone is probably gonna weigh about 100 pounds.
Yep.
And with 20 gallons of fuel, 20 times 8, you're at probably another 150 pounds. So we're gonna add about 250 or so pounds to the back. We're also going to change the springs in the front and the shocks in the front because we're not too far off of our goal. Our goal is to run low 9s or high 8s in the quarter mile.
Wow, dude, that's so fast. That's so fast.
So that's our goal. We're not too far off of it. We just got to move a little bit of weight around. Yep. But not a lot of people, racers always want to take weight out. I need to take weight out. Well, we got to add a little bit more weight back into it.
Yep. And over the rear, because the cell's behind the axle, right? So past the rear axle is a good spot if you're trying to, leave. That's awesome. What's the fastest ET the truck's been?
I don't like to talk about the ET time because, like I said, we're top ending.
You're slow rolling out, and then
right. So the fastest mile per hour that truck's ever been was 154 miles an hour in the quarter mile.
That's awesome.
So if you do a calculator, that's probably a low 9-second, high 8-second truck.
Yep. You just got to get that thing to freaking.
We just got to get 60-foot, man. Yep.
And that would be pretty tough, even with a big tire like that, because you just can't hit it with the beans,
Well, you gotta keep in mind, I have a stock rear end. That's a stock rear end in that truck. That's
Dude, I figured it was like all kinds of beefed up in some crazy $12,000 rear axle or something.
No. That's a stock rear end in a truck. So every time I let go of the trans brake, I prayed that it would not, the pinion wouldn't shatter. So.
That's crazy. I mean, think like if somebody that was our age in the 70s was hearing that factory stuff was taking people deep in the 9s with that kind of power, they would think we were crazy. They'd be like, "There's no way." But it's all in power management. It's all in how it comes out. So we've obviously got another few questions. I'd like to stay under about 2 hours for this one, but let's. I mean, you've got to call out some of your sponsors, man. They help you to be able to do this. So I'd love to give you a chance to thank them and kind of go through some of the folks that support you.
My biggest supporter would be my family. First of all, my brother, my current girlfriend, they're my biggest supporters. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for them. So I'm super stoked about that. Fire Pump Diesel. You guys check them out on YouTube. Fire Pump Diesel. They're a huge supporter of us. Wagler Competition, huge supporter of us. It's kind of hard for me to say this, but my best friend Joshua Chapman here at CFT Performance, he's my biggest supporter.
That's awesome.
He helps me with shop space. My truck's out there. It's been on the lift for 3 weeks. He hasn't complained one time of it, tying up the lift. We just pushed it in and out as customers come. He provides me a shop space, an office space. He's without CFT Performance, I don't think this program would have been possible. But
he's
awesome. A huge supporter of us. Like I said, Wagler Competition, Extra G Fuel. If you guys need any fuel products for your truck, also a huge sponsor, and it is becoming wintertime. So Optilube lubricants. They're a diesel fuel additive. So if you guys are worried about your diesel fuel gelling up, especially down in the south, it gets cold down there and they don't have no additives in your diesel. Make sure you hit up Optilube. You can find it on Amazon or you can call them direct. They're one of our title sponsors. And then one other sponsor I'd like to shout out would be Hotbods Fiberglass. They're the ones that provided all the fiberglass body panels for the drag truck. And those body panels withstanded the Oklahoma roads, 1,300 plus miles. So yeah, Hotbods Fiberglass for sure.
That's cool.
There's probably other ones on there that I've missed, but those are the ones that stand out the most for me. So,
that's cool, man. And it's so cool to know there's that many folks that are behind you. You know, that's awesome.
Oh, that's only like a handful of people, you know. Yeah. People like you know, you and I shoot messages back and forth all the time. But my biggest supporters would be the people that I meet at the races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool, man. And your story is so cool, dude. I hope people have enjoyed like this hour and 40 minutes, hour and 35 minutes that you've been able to tell it. Because
there's
a
lot more to it than what a lot of people know.
Yep. Well, and it's so neat that, you know, and I think that's what I love. And I've said it before. It's what I love about this long format stuff. You know, you were the first one that kicked off the Quick 16. I think I only had 12 questions in, and it was like 10 minutes long. But you're really the driving force behind that. A lot of the driving force behind me getting back behind the mic and doing this way more than just once a week with friends and things like that. So I appreciate that. I mean, you've motivated me for sure to push our envelope a little bit here too. Let's get back to some car stuff.
Okay.
If no budget was if you had all the money in the world, what car would you build?
I'd probably build a diesel truck, but to be honest with you, I would build something that the common folk could relate with.
That's cool.
Even if I had all the money in the world, I would still build something that someone could relate to, because I don't want to be out there and be somebody that, I would be someone they could look up to, but they're like, well, I can never do that. I could never do that.
Yeah.
I could never build that engine. Well, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things is like when you meet, and I have a good friend named Jonathan Montgomery, and he has Lamborghinis. Okay, that's his car. He prefers Lamborghinis for fun stuff. And you can talk to that dude anytime, doesn't matter. And kids will walk up to the car and he will like literally tell them everything about the car, let them sit in it and all that kind of stuff. And when those kids walk off, he'll walk up and go, man, I hope I made that kid a car guy. I hope that kid, when he grows up, he has whatever car he dreams of and he lets kids sit in it. You know, that's a big part of this world, and the car world, especially, you know, as kids are coming up through the phases. I remember being at car shows and being 10 or 12 years old and not, people would be like, hey man, don't get too close, you know, look, don't touch, you know, things like that. Yeah. And just from our conversations, I don't think you would ever be like that. I think that's really cool.
I'm gonna send you a picture here real quick of I have inspired a lot of kids, you know, and that's kind of my driving force behind this, is to inspire adults, but also to inspire kids. But there was this one little girl here's the picture right here. Here, this picture, man, this picture freaking shakes me up every time. I'm going to send it to you on the Facebook there.
Okay.
So I was at a racetrack one night, and it was one of my first outings. And as you guys probably know, you know, there's not a lot of diesels at racetracks, and so I was out. I was, doing my thing, and this I just got done. I just got done with the evening, and I was packing up the truck, and I was talking to these fans or these kids, and we were talking about the truck, and this little girl that's in the picture there, and her mom were standing off in the distance, just patiently waiting, and the mom comes up to me and she says, "Hey, out of all the vehicles, there was probably 60 cars there that night, and she says, out of all the cars, this little girl here, my daughter, she says she just loves your truck." And I said, it just shook me up there, man. Like,
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
We never know, as us racers, we never know who's in the stands and who we're going to inspire,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's why I feel it's really important to start closing this podcast with the message to the racers out there. It's very important for you guys to hold your composure, no matter how heated the race gets, no matter how pissed off you get with your vehicle. It's very important that we hold our composure because we do not know who's watching us.
Yep.
And if you're out there cussing at your car and pissed off, that little girl wouldn't have walked up to me. That little boy wouldn't have asked me for my autograph.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. And, a lot of times too, that your attitude and how you react to that situation, that kid may have been standing there waiting for you, but then they're like, "Oh crap, I don't want to talk to him right now. He's really mad,"
Yeah.
And so they go, and they intend to come back later, but then the parents are like, "Hey, let's go," things like that.
Yep.
So that's a great point. Yeah, Danny says lead by example. That's obviously the way we would want to live life for sure. All right, dude, let's get into these kind of. I want to know. Do you have any other hobbies? Do you before you lived this life? What were some of your hobbies? Because Donovan said you used to autocross.
Yeah, I used to autocross. That kind of got me into it. I like to go. I like to go places where other people dream of going. I've traveled all over the Americas. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been all over Mexico. What I like to do, and it's my hobby, is to go places other people have never been or that they desire to go to. I went to Cuba. I've been to the Grand Caymans. I've been all over the Americas. Like,
that's awesome.
And I share that with you guys, so hopefully it inspires you guys. That's my hobby, man. To be honest with you, that's what I live for. Like, I don't take a lot of personal time. Like, I am here to live for you guys.
That's it, dude. Danny Diesel, the motivational not motivational speaker, because you're not telling us what to do. You're showing. I don't even know how to word that. We're going to come up.
I'm living it. Hopefully, you follow behind me and say, "Hey, you know what? I want to do that too." Like, I'm going to put you on the spot real quick. What is something that you have always wanted to do?
Yeah, dude, Grand Canyon, 100%. Grand Canyon, and then like the mountains. I would love to take just 2 or 3 weeks worth of trip just to get in the car and just go and like drive for hours and look at all of that stuff. I've been, skiing and things like that, but when you're on vacation, you're so crammed for time because you're trying to do so much stuff. I would love to just not have to worry for 3 weeks and just go cruise the mountains and do, Yellowstone and all that kind of stuff.
Well, my question is, why would it take, you don't need 3 weeks. You could split that 3 weeks up into smaller portions,
Yeah. Yep.
Fly out to Vegas, drive over to the Grand Canyon. It's super, super easy. and you could do it, take off Wednesday and come back on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what's crazy is like the Vegas flights from XNA here in Northwest Arkansas. I mean, dude, they're like $100 a person round trip. Like it's nothing to do that. I'm for sick week. I'm flying to into Tampa for $100 one way and $100 home. I mean, a $200 round trip. I mean, dude, and they fly out Fridays and back Mondays. I mean, that's an easy trip. Same for Vegas.
You got to take a little bit of time off of work to do it, but.
Yep.
It's definitely something that's doable. The Grand Canyon in November, don't go. It's 32 degrees, but it is beautiful.
Don't sleep in a U-Haul is what you're saying.
No, don't sleep in a U-Haul, man. That was not smart, but we did it.
Hey, dude, that's part of the adventure. That's so Jonathan Stonecipher said early on, he said, we're not going to tell people what we almost did. He's going to tell people, he's like, we're going to tell people what we did in our life, not like, oh man, I almost went to the Grand Canyon one time. Let's see, hang on. Danny says that he knows another motivational speaker who does this very thing, with the exception he does marathon runs or massive bike rides.
I would like to do that, man. Don't start manifesting stuff on me like that.
Yeah, Danny was trying to get us into a gravel ride. Me and Nick from Australia into a gravel ride. It's like 300 miles. So I mountain bike as another hobby,
Okay.
And so that's all I need is one more hobby is gravel riding. And Danny, I'm not going to do the trip. I'm not riding across that state on a bicycle.
No, but you could take your bicycle on a plane and go to Oregon or Washington in the summertime. You go to the ski slopes, you ride the ski lift up, and you mountain bike down.
Yep. See, that's what I keep telling the wife. I'm like, let's go to the mountains for one of our family vacations, and I'll take my mountain bike with me, and then you guys can enjoy the view, and you can just watch me come down this mountain on my mountain bike. It'd be great.
Come down on your mountain bike, yeah. Maybe rolling down.
Dude, that's probably what would happen. So let's jump into these last few here.
Okay.
We call it the Fast Five questions. I think the first one you've answered a couple times, but what's the fastest you've driven?
It would be the 154 miles an hour in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yep. And then WD-40 or PB Blaster?
I've answered this one before for you, and I use neither of them. I am more of a breaker bar type of guy.
Yep. You were the one we were talking about, the 4-foot stripper pole breaker.
Yeah,
bar.
We were.
Yep. Gloves or bare hands?
Oh man, I'm a bareback type of guy.
That's awesome. And then what's a tool you can't live without?
Shout out to Milwaukee Tools. Hopefully they're hearing us out there.
Yes, Milwaukee, sponsor this dude. Send this dude some stuff. All right, this is a good one. And Richard Edward or Dirty Panda on YouTube came up with it. He said, what is a part you have broken multiple times before upgrading?
That would have to be I haven't upgraded the fuel cell yet, but it's either a fuel cell or a head gasket.
Nice.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, dude, we got like 6 minutes here before the 2-hour mark. What haven't we talked about? I feel like we've told some stories, we've had some fun, but there's got to be some stuff that we haven't talked about.
I would just like to take this time just to thank you for your time, taking time away from your family to have a conversation with me and share my story with your viewers. But this movement's not about me, man. It's about reaching out to the bigger picture. There's a lot of hurting people in this world. There's a lot of hurting people in this country that just need a smile, man. They just need, that guy just got in an argument with his wife and he went to the racetrack. He just needs you to smile at him. He just needs you to say, when you're walking down the pit, say, hey man, how you doing?
Yeah.
And also, I would just like to share with people, just because people look at me and they're like, "Oh, that guy's living the dream," but you don't see all the hard work behind it. Just because the guy has brand new cars and stuff in his driveway, that doesn't mean that's what's happening behind closed doors. You know, uh, and we just need to learn to listen to people.
Yeah.
If
That's a great. Yep.
you listen enough to people, you will start to understand if that person is in a need, and
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with asking a person, are you truly okay?
Yeah.
There was one, we just got a couple more minutes, but there was a photographer on the race week, Chris Story.
Yeah.
Dude, if you have a chance, you should probably get him on your podcast.
So he's the first person that did our business of burnouts. He was like the
Okay.
first guest I had after race week.
Okay.
Because dude, he quit his job to do race week and do photography.
Yeah, he's doing. Him and I didn't know each other, but we met each other. We met each other in Kansas at that racetrack, and I'll tell you what, dude. Him and I had a powerful conversation. I'm gonna go back and look at that episode. But Chris Story, man, he has one powerful freaking story out there. He quit his job to pursue photography.
Yeah.
And he quit his job to go on race week to pursue photography. I don't ever recommend anyone to make that financial decision.
Yep.
But I do recommend all your followers to just reflect back and reflect deep inside you. And if there's something that you desire to go and do, stop with the bullshit excuses and just go and do it.
Dude, 100%. I'm putting Chris's Instagram handle here in the comments. You can also find him on Facebook as well under Chris Story Photo with an F.
Yeah.
Great dude. Killer photography from the week. And cool stuff since then. I mean, obviously, dude has, that's his livelihood. It's what he does. Man, hey, I want to say thank you for coming on and being as open as you are with all the folks that are here. I will tell everybody this is going to be, I'm going to take this audio, I'm going to turn it into a podcast as well, so they can listen to it. They won't have to use their media on their phone for the video, and they can do other things on their phone while they're also listening to it. On the podcast, you can find our podcast everywhere. It's under Narcoleptic Customs on that too. And then I'm going to also cut, there's been a ton of really, really good stuff in this. I'm going to cut it up and do what we call quick cuts, and there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 at least that come from this that'll be dropping as well. During Narxmas, listen, the day after Thanksgiving, 11/26 through December 23rd, we're going daily, every day. Every day we're going to have something on YouTube and Facebook. We've been posting a ton of pictures on Facebook and really leaving the videos for YouTube. I'm going to change it up. We're going to post all the stuff everywhere. So it's a ton of fun. I love bringing our life to everybody. Obviously, if you want to see more behind the scenes stuff, find us on Patreon too. We just started. We literally have one patron, Destroyer 1320. So it's so cool. Like in this time that we've done this, we've met so many cool people and made so many new friends, and I couldn't do it if we weren't documenting our journey. So everybody, record what you're doing. Record funny stuff. Look, y'all have got to follow Danny on TikTok and Instagram. His stuff is hilarious. He's always just, dude. I think I hope it went viral, but the Island Boy stuff you were doing the other day on TikTok, oh my gosh, dude, you had me rolling. It's hilarious. So, guys, go find him there. Anything you want to say on the way out, man? I'm going to hit the button here in just a second.
For the last 50 seconds of this, I just can't emphasize enough. There's people out there that want our help, and there's people out there that need us. And sometimes, man, there's nothing wrong with just giving a person, obviously a consensual hug, and just letting them know that everything's going to be okay.
Yep. There's a lot of folks that don't get hugs or pats on the back. You know.
Yeah, man. It's a sad way of reality, but be nice to people.
Yeah.
Because we never know what's going behind those closed doors.
That's exactly right. All right, y'all. Thank you very much for hanging out for 2 hours. See you guys. I'm hitting the button now.